Welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video. This one, we're going to be talking about Towa and the boost that she gains from set 10. And before I continue, of course, subscribe if you are new. This is actually a set of series of videos that I'm doing based on an article that I wrote a couple weeks ago, based on the decks that actually gain benefit from the 60 card limit, and basically if I can make them work or not. Another thing, I know that what you may be thinking from the title, but honestly, to explain, Towa is kind of more of a fair version of hand control right now. Every other hand control that I can think of, kind of comparing to shoving 4 Rebrians into your deck and then paying 2 energy, is a little bit different from trying to understand what cards you need in your warp, into your hand, into your deck, etc. And basically it becomes a combo deck in which you have to be kind of careful of all your decisions that you make throughout the game. And when talking about the leader, she really hasn't been meta relevant since like maybe last September. Finding the last recorded major event that I can see here that she topped in the Orlando qualifier. And there's a lot of reasons why that happened. A lot of aggro came about, baby came about, more red and counterplays came about, more counters and things like that came about as well. But in set 10, she does get one supporting card that she that actually helps the deck and boosts the deck quite a bit, and that's actually the 2-drop Mira. It's basically a free play card in which if you have no battle cards in your area, you can go ahead and free play it, and then for 3 energy, as early as turn 3, you can go ahead and play Reformation, swing for a double, and then go into the 7-drop, and then make him warp 3 and then swing for double again for a lot of damage basically. And of course, doing this on turn 3 at the earliest and then doing it again right after that is pretty wild. And just this alone makes Towa that much faster and that much, just a little bit more viable and that much better in the long run. Now, since I did make that article, I did write that article, I do, well, you can actually read that in the description below. I do want to go ahead and go through the original list and then the changes that I made from it. All right, so this is the article that I actually wrote and basically went through a number of things from the original video that I had where set 10 was pretty much leaked, and then Masan, Zamasu, Dende, and then Towa, and then of course Clash Q, which I already made a video about and just kind of broke down everything. But the next one's probably gonna be Dende, most likely. We'll see about that, depending on the gameplay that I like or that I did. But for set 10 Towa, this was the original list. There's a few things that I made a point of like, basically if we go through the whole thing, we do have the 1-drop Towa in which you draw a card and then you can counterplay to one of their battle cards and then shuffle 1 battle card from their drop into their deck. Of course, we play the 4 2-drop Mira. Of course, we play the 1-drop Kidku, and then 3 4-star balls. The thing that people may be talking about or might be asking questions of why I played this, and as well as Dark Power Masan, is that during the first 3 turns, you don't really play any battle cards. You might overwhelm one or two times with Time Regulator or Dimension Banisher or the 3-drop Mira, but you can play these guys for 1 energy and gain value and basically defend yourself with Kidku, and then make sure they don't play anything for free in the early turns with Dark Power Black Masan. And of course, you may be wondering, hey, I mean, aren't you not supposed to have any battle cards with the 2-drop? Yes, but I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Combo them off. Yeah, there you go. And then of course, I originally had the Kakarot, of course, not even the scratch, in which you can loop it with the leader effect on the backside, from warping and then putting it back in the drop, using it, and then warping, or putting it from the warp to the drop again and then using it again. And of course we play Power Burst, but I highlighted a couple things in which, you know, I did put out Isaiah's video as well, and then I mean, Deflect being really good for the 5-drop, and then I already kind of talked about the turn 1 and turn 3, and then playing the 5-drop on turn 3, well, for 3 energy if anything, and then that she has a place in the format. All right, so but in this new list, which you can go ahead and follow along in the description below, that I updated, and then you can go ahead and put it on untap or whatever you want to do. In this new list, basically I kept the Black Masan to 3 So I mean that affects a lot of things from Vegix to Frieza to anything that plays anything like 15k or less. I didn't add the Black Smoke SCR since we didn't really play one originally, and I think it's perfect for this deck. I think if you really want a different finisher, Demigra, and as well as the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, yeah, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta that got released, you can go ahead and play those as well. Since since you're playing Mono Black, it's cool to have a basically 3-cost triple striker that draws you cards and does a lot of other stuff and can't be removed. So I might be wrong on that last one, but if anything, it's a really good SCR. I just don't remember all the effects. It has like a paragraph. And then I removed one 4-star ball because it kind of became cloggy. You really only played Kiku the first 2 turns and then you combo it off. So there you go. And then I removed the 5-drop triple striking Mira because it didn't really come up in any point in the game. Simply because, you know, I rather on 5 energy, I'd rather go into another 7-drop, paying 4 energy with the Reformation, or I play Black Smoke instead. Plus, it really only gains the effect when you evolve anyway, so it's whatever. Otherwise, if you do consider it, which I think the foils are super cheap, I'm not saying to buy them, but if you do consider it, go get the foils, and then you can have a free Mira that is, well, a 3-cost Mira, I should say, that goes into a free Mira that pays 3, that goes into a 25k triple striker that can gain crit and finish the game that way. So that's another thought, or food for thought. And then I did add another power burst for Kiku, and as well as Dark Power. I did remove the Kakarot blocker since it really didn't come up at any point of the game. The concept with that was that you can warp any of your Towas in the drop, and then just have a free or a 2-cost barrier blocker revenge, and that can kind of protect you early in the game. But it did kind of get in the way of the free play Mira, since you kind of have to stick it down later into the game and you want to warp the Towas early into the game. I don't think it's necessarily a bad card. You can probably sideboard for that as well. And then we do have a few cards to consider as far as the new 5-drop Mira, in which the Explosion Energy, we can make them warp 2 cards, and then now you have a 25k critical barrier attacker, basically with the built-in negate. So I think it's pretty cool to look into that. I don't think that's really a bad card at all as well. You can always look into the new Evolved Towa as well, but it didn't really seem good in practice. And I think one last thing I didn't mention, or I didn't write down really, is the 2-drop Vegeta, the championship pack, or the championship pack? Right, Time Regulator, there you go. I didn't really play that because not only that you needed, well, later in the game you want to play it, but I think literally every single time I try to put that into the deck, it dies. And I didn't like that. I played like 3 or 4 games, died. It just like, it didn't last more than 1 turn. And it just became really, really annoying. So that's why I rather play the 3-drop Mira that you can play from hand or warp. So if anything, I think that's a lot better to consider. That's all I can really say about that. I think the deck overall does kind of lose to the things that it still loses to, like counterplays, right? To red, that minuses everything, and as well as aggro decks in general. And I think the sideboard is set up for those few matchups, like Protected the People, Protected the People for anything aggro, Koitsukai, just because it's just a good card, just avoiding anything that they play on their turn, like Apes or Topo or whatever. The 1-drop Goku, so that way you can recycle the negates. And then Time Ruler Towa, not Time Ruler Towa, but Dimension Leaper Towa instead of the Kakarot, just so you can have a revenge blocker that can kind of kills and help you get another Towa into the warp. Demonic Absorption for Invoker, and then Deborah for any kind of secret rare, because a lot of them do have on attack or activate mains that you can kind of get around, like Black Smoke. But yeah, other than that, that's the deck. Check it out in the description below. I think if anything, what I'm going to do, instead of putting the gameplay on here on this video, I'm just going to put a separate unlisted video on the website itself that is going to be in the description below as well. So that way you can take a look at the gameplay, and this isn't that much of a long video. I should have kept doing that in general, but oh well. But let me know what you think. If there's anything that I should have changed, or anything that I should consider, or that everybody should consider. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Definitely subscribe if you're new. Join the Discord. Follow me on Twitch. That's where I'm doing a lot of the gameplays on DBS and as well as Last of Us and all these other games. And I'll see you in the next one.